Shots fired, not a metaphor. Shots fired, yes.
All right, we welcome to the show and a special interview with Mr. Elon Musk, who, of course, is famed Trump advisor, CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, chair of X Corp. Elon, thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to begin, but among other things, everyone's attacking you for your position. What are you doing in the government? There was a cyber attack on X today, which shut it down and may have been foreign sourced.
Yes.
It's a big story. You want to give us a moment on that?
Well, we're not sure exactly what happened, but there was a massive cyber attack to try to bring down the X system with IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area.
Oh, well, so that's your suspicion. Is the website
Ukraine is an enemy of the world? Yeah, it's definitely Ukraine that did it. Yeah, it was Zell Disney himself. They love attacking the guy who's giving them Starlink, dude. Like, this is just as stupid as being like, it was actually Russia that blew up its own pipeline.
Is the internet up? Is it up yet?
It's up, yeah.
It's up yet. Okay, good. But I just was looking back. Let me see if I get this right. They're setting fire to various Tesla charging stations near Boston. Shots were fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Various nonviolent...
Shots fired, not a metaphor.
Shots fired, yes. Downtown New York, marching against the Tesla showroom. Your stock is way down. You've been criticized left and right.
But look on the bright side.
I mean, why are you doing this?
Always look on the bright side of life.
Yes, I'm an optimist. Yeah.
But besides that,
yes. I mean,
how's your day?
What motivates you to do this?
Was the opera good?
It's tough sledding.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. But I think we're doing the right thing here. There's been a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. When you're part of the government, you saw a lot of that, and there's been, if you look at the Inspector General reports and the Government Accountability Office, there have been many audits that have pointed out that there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. In fact, there was a report issued by the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, last year. So during the Biden administration, which estimated the federal government fraud to be $500 billion. So just to be clear, that's not a Trump administration thing, that's a Biden administration thing. So what we're trying to do is...
I'm surprised he knows what the GAO is. He perhaps should have figured that out before doing Doge. Just kidding. The whole purpose of Doge is not actually to do government accountability. It's to just rip through the administrative agencies.
Get that number down to a much smaller figure, save money for the American taxpayer, stop money being spent on things that I think very few taxpayers would agree make sense. Transgender animal surgeries, or why are we spending money? Why are American tax dollars being spent on this? The president's gone through a long list of absurd things. Why are the 20 million people who are definitely dead marked as alive in the Social Security database? Why were hundreds?
It's just so funny because, like, I don't even know if he knows he's lying or if he's just that stupid and he believes it. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, he probably does think this, okay? And I don't know. I don't know which is worse.
So demystify this. How do you do it, okay? How big is your team?
Yeah.
Where'd you recruit most of them from? And what is it that makes you choose, the Treasury or Social Security or USAID? How does it work? Let the public know, please.
Right. Well, we just basically follow the money. We look at the president's executive orders, and we also just follow the money. So we started looking closely at USAID because they were completely violating the president's executive orders to suspend foreign aid, what's called foreign aid, but in our view is a lot of corruption. So what we saw there is just a tremendous amount of money being sent to non-governmental organizations. But actually, this, by the way, is I think one of the biggest sources of fraud in the world is government-funded non-governmental organizations. This is a gigantic fraud loophole where the government can give money to an NGO, and then that there are no controls over that NGO. So they've given billions of dollars, in fact, we estimate tens of billions of dollars to NGOs that are essentially scams. And
By the way,
we're trying to put a stop to that. So
I don't want to interrupt, but Secretary of State Rubio has just come out. I think he tweeted today. He has accepted over 80% of your recommendations to shut down in USAID.
Right.
So your review and analysis was spot on.
Yes. So I think when people criticize, say, what Doge is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the Doge team on the Doge.gov website and on the Doge handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like this action has been taken, this action has been taken. So when we get criticism, we say, like, of what? Which line do you disagree with? Like which cut?
Pretty much all of it. Like I've yet to see anything. I'm sure there is. I mean, it's hard to answer this because, like, when you talk about the U.S. aid stuff, there are certain aspects of USA where I'm like, okay, maybe that's not the worst thing to cut. The publicly funded NGOs that he talks about, like the grant structure that exists and like what the nefarious purpose for some of those grants are, not the worst thing. Having said that, most of what he says is a lie on the website, wherever. Like the cuts that they claim are complete lies.
Which cost saving do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
No.
So
It's transparent line by line.
It's transparent line by line.
Which is quite remarkable.
Right. And so
you're not really, let me see if I get this right, particularly with Social Security, you're not really changing policy.
No, yes.
You're auditing the fiscal mechanisms to make sure that, from point A gets to point B, and that's where it's supposed to get to. In some cases, it doesn't get there, or in some cases, it may go over there. But that's it's not a policy exercise. You're not changing laws. You're just doing what any business would do in a profit and loss audit.
I think we're really what we're adding here is caring and competence. And there's a massive amount of fraud of basically people submitting Social Security numbers for Social Security benefits, unemployment, small business administration loans, and medical, where those are fake Social Security numbers, or they've stolen somebody else's Social Security number, and we're trying to put a stop to all of that. I mean, what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal bureaucracy, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically appointed officials. And what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control. And they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen that.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term. It's like a permanent bureaucracy. I might add, it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it doesn't. It's not a bureaucracy that necessarily enforces or implements presidential policy.
They don't. In fact, they try their best to thwart presidential policy. So the president is the elected representative of the people. And if the president cannot get things implemented as a reflection of the will of the people, then what we have is not a democracy, we have a bureaucracy. We have rule of the bureau, not rule of the people. And that's what we're trying to defeat here is the bureaucracy and have rule of the people. The
bars.
And as you mentioned, the bureaucracy is overwhelmingly Democrat. So Washington, D.C. was 92.5%, I believe, voted for Kamala. So this is overwhelmingly a deep blue situation.
How do you pick your next targeted agency or department?
This is one of the dumbest arguments. This is my favorite argument, dude. One, even if every single person that works for the federal government is a registered Democrat, does that give you reason to fire them? No. Secondly, everyone that lives in DC are not working for the federal government. Many of the agencies that he talks about are comprised of individuals who did vote for Donald Trump and don't live in DC. The idea that like the overwhelming majority of government officials are actually registered Democrats is so stupid. It's stupid in a childish way. You have a childlike way of thinking about this stuff. That's what's so annoying about it. Other than what he's advocating for, which is mass layoffs for no particular reason. It's idiotic.